Hey there, in this video, I'm going to be telling you the story about how someone simply saying the words, "I don't consent to any search," saved him from a long jail sentence. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in California, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. Now, again, in this video, I'm going to be sharing a story from someone who could have been put in jail for a very long time, but because he knew to assert his rights, in the face of it being made very difficult by the police, and because he had a smart attorney, not me, this isn't my case, he is free. He was let go. So let's get right into it. Now, this is a post from Reddit. I don't know about you, but I actually really love Reddit and people's stories on it, so I really wanted to share. Very often, you will read that all these rights you have, this is him writing, are technical, and that in court, the police officer will simply lie and make something up, and your affirmations will be pushed away. I live to prove the opposite. First things first, I did something very stupid. I would never do it again, and I regretted it for almost every day thereafter. In 2003, I carried drugs across state lines for criminals, drug resellers mostly. It was completely stupid. I was young, dumb, and naive. I was making quite a lot of money. He says, on one particular night, I was arrested for speeding. I was very cocky at the time and had a tight delivery schedule. I simply asked the police officer to give me his damn ticket already. Huge mistake. It took me months to forgive myself for saying this. Step out of the car, please. Is there anything wrong? Step out of the car, sir. Do you have any weapon on you? No, sir. I don't consent to any search. Sorry? I said that I did not consent to any search. I didn't ask for your opinion. He was a real a-hole. He patted me down anyway and then asked me to open my car. No, I did not consent to any search. Why? You have drugs, weapons, illegal material? I don't consent to any search. But of course, the cop does search his car anyway. He does find the drugs, and he arrests the writer for possession. He continues, I was very lucky because I had an excellent attorney. I could have gotten a public defender with the salary that I was officially making at the time, but I took the extra step to hire the best criminal defense attorney in my state out of my pocket. He did a lot for me, and when he heard that I told the officer I did not consent to any search, at first he told me to forget it. After hearing the details, however, he made the sentence the main element of my defense. The preliminary hearing was boring and long. Yes, the offense was committed in the right state, but then came the time to prove that there was enough evidence against me. The prosecution's argument was we found tons of drugs in his trunk, but that was all they had, and here's a rough transcript of what happened next. Lawyer: where did you find the drugs? In the defendant's vehicle. Where in the vehicle? In the defendant's trunk. Why did you choose to inspect the defendant's vehicle? The defendant looked heavily intoxicated. Drug tests made the same night, though, show the defendant has never taken any drug. I said looked. Right. Did the defendant consent to the search? Yes. Lies! The defendant told you many times that he would not consent to a search. No, he did not say that. So are you calling him a liar? Correct. Do you think that the defendant knew that he had drugs in his trunk? Probably. So why would the defendant agree to let you inspect his vehicle knowing that you'd find the drug? Well, he did not agree to the consent, but Wait, you said a minute ago that he agreed to the inspection. Well, I meant that he agreed indirectly because he was restrained, etc. So, if I take a woman and restrain her and then sexually abuse her, that means it's okay because she agrees indirectly to the sexual act? No, this is different. The defendant never agreed to a search of his vehicle, did he? No, but I had probable cause. What probable cause? Well, I had smelled some drugs. Evidence showed my client had not consumed any drugs, and no other police officer who came onto the scene reported smelling any drugs. I saw the drugs. The drugs were in the defendant's trunk. You couldn't have seen them. Well, maybe, but he did have the drugs, so my suspicion was right. Let's say I pulled a random vehicle on the road and I inspected his trunk. That's all I know about the vehicle. If I find drugs in the trunk, would that make it lawful? No. Well, I mean, yes. I mean, it's your sixth sense. It's your intuition. It's what makes you a good police officer. No, sir. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and you just admitted committing it on my client. Your Honor, my client has told the police officer multiple times that he did not consent to any search, and yet the police searched the vehicle anyway. And the police officer has just admitted to having no cause to inspect the vehicle. Based on the evidence heard under oath in this court, I would like to invalidate any evidence resulting of this illegal search of my client's vehicle based on the Fourth Amendment. He goes on to explain, the judge looked at papers for a few minutes, asked a few questions to the police officer, who clearly did not know what to do, and then ruled the evidence inadmissible in court. My attorney promptly filed a motion to dismiss the case due to insufficient evidence. The whole case was thrown out, and finally he is free. He goes on to explain that he went back to school, he graduated, he found a decent job, and now lives a much more boring life. He is married to a wonderful wife, he paints and spends a lot of time reading, and he still thinks back to what could have been and how his life could have basically been over. He wouldn't have his wife, he wouldn't have his home, he would be sitting in a jail cell, but he did something smart and he repeatedly said, I don't consent to any search. Now, in my opinion, some of the law is missing from this story. Some of the questioning probably didn't go exactly how he's saying that it went. He, dramatized it a little bit, but that made it fun. But in real life, it is a good idea to continuously say, and you saw he said it more than one time, I don't consent to any search. He repeatedly says it because you could say that and then maybe later on you do something like they ask for the keys and you hand it to him and then they say, oh, well, you consented later on. So it is a good idea to repeatedly assert your rights. If you are in this situation, for God's sake, do not consent. You don't know what's in your car. If you ever have anybody else in your car, maybe you have a son, daughter, spouse, fiance, whatever that borrows your car, you don't know what may have been in there. Maybe the guys at the car wash, I know that they changed my settings in my car, drops a bag of meth and suddenly you find yourself charged. You can just avoid all of that by refusing to consent. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell.